Welcome to another live stream watch-along reaction. Tonight we are watching and reacting to Sporting Kansas City versus Inter Miami CF in the 2025 CONCACAF Champions Cup Round 1, Leg 1. They would have played it yesterday, but the snowstorm stopped it, but we're playing it today. We have it going, and this ain't the only game we're talking about today. This will be the focus, but we have the rest of the Real Salt Lake Herediano game. We have Seattle versus Antigua GFC. We'll keep an eye on those as well as this game goes on. Seattle playing at the same time as Miami. And, of course, the last 30 minutes of the Herediano Real Salt Lake game, which is 0-0 as we speak. But mostly we're focusing on Kansas City, Miami. But because of the snowstorm, we're going to take 2.5 games during these 2 hours and just review Kansas City, Miami on the review, but still during the live 2.5 games. So for a while we'll be looking at 3 games at the same time. Sort of red zone-y, maybe, because they are. They're just having bad nights, in my opinion. But with that being said, what's wrong with Man City? No Rodri. Pep has been found out. The team is tired. So on and so forth. We've already discussed that. Hell, they're starting to look a bit better now. They have Marmouche and they have players that... Gonzalez, of course. Maybe. But at least we get to see it without snow on the ground. So I guess he was smart. I don't know. How we doing? With that being said, Sporting Kansas City contra Inter Miami CF. En la primera ronda, partido ida de la Concachampions de la CONCACAF. For the starting 11s, we have Kansas City in goal, John Polskamp. The back 3 of Robert Volader, Danny Rosero, Tim Leibold. The midfield 5 of Nemanja Radoja, Memo Rodriguez, Jacob Bartlett, Jake Davis, Eric Tommy, and Daniel Shallowy up top. No Dejan Joveljic. It's interesting. How did PSG get 10 goals? I could have sworn I would have heard about that. Now you're making me check FotMob. I mean, who'd they play? I mean, they're better than Brest. Like, Brest was a cool story, but PSG still has a lot of quality on their team. Now, to score 7 at home, that's a little bit overkill, but hey, got to win a game. Starting 11 for Miami in goal. Oscar Ustadi, the back. Weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so no, CONCACAF was behind. There was only 10. Okay, nope, Dejan Joveljic is starting up top for Kansas City. I was like, that's weird. Not even on the bench. And I didn't realize it was only 10 players. Okay, so no, the 11th player is Dejan Joveljic for Kansas City. He is playing. My bad. CONCACAF had it wrong. That's on them. That's on their website. Starting 11 for Miami. I only saw 3 on Miami for like 3 lines. I'm like, that makes no sense. Starting 11, then I counted. I'm like, oh, yeah, CONCACAF had it wrong. Had to reload. But yes, Dejan Joveljic starting for Kansas City. Starting 11 for Miami. Oscar Ustadi, Marcelo Weingart, Gonzalo Lujan, Thomas Aviles, Noah Allen. No Jordi Alba due to the red card against Monterrey last year, by the way. Tadeo Olendi, Federico Redondo, Sergio Busquets, Talasco Segovia, Lionel Messi, and Luis Suarez for Miami. Well, yeah, they've fallen off a little bit, but they overperformed their position when it came to the Champions League. So do with that what you will. Oh, there you go. 61st minute. Of Herediano RSL. 0-0. Settle was settled, by the way. How we doing, Capitan? How we doing? How we doing? The first one of 3 Well, here's the Miami match, but we're good. Hit that like button. Let's get this one going. So we have our 8 teams to join the round of 16. Now, with that being said, let's throw up Herediano and let's throw up. Boom. Perfect. That was awesome. All right. So we have the 2 other games up over here. And we have Miami on the TV. Hey, I'm talking about it. Hey, I have it up on the computer. I will be talking about it slightly. I will keep an eye on it. It works. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm keeping an eye on it the whole time, so it works out. Okay, Dolph Ziggler. Teams are walking in for Kansas City, Miami. They've won 6 of their last 8 games at home in Champions Cup, Kansas City. Seattle is in Guatemala. Still 0-0 for Herediano RSL. Oh, Sporting has a nice dressing room. Now that he's explained it, yeah. The fact he's from New Orleans, which I did not know at all. And he picked Ricky Saints. It's close enough. You know, now that I've heard him explain it, I do like it. I do like it. Seattle's going to wear their Salish Sea kit, their Mariners color kit tonight. RSL's wearing their LSD Trip Grid City kit. Miami's wearing their black kits. Kansas City's wearing their new kit, their new home kit, their new baby blue kit, whatever you want to call it. But here we go. But still 64th minute, Herediano RSL still 0-0. So things look good for Herediano. He probably will. Unless Dejan Joveljic single-handedly beats Miami over 2 legs. If he does that, you won't. But I don't. That's like Kansas City's only shot. Kansas City's only shot is Dejan Joveljic single-handedly beating Messi and Miami. If that doesn't happen, you won't. If that does happen, you won't. But I don't know if it will. Kansas City's a bum team. I think Ricky Starks is his real name, but he chose to change it for WWE. But you know what? I don't blame him. If he leaves, he has his name. I'm sure they're a little bit better about names than the freaking Vince era. But still, you know, I understand it. You want to be careful. You very likely still might get it, but still. But we'll see. Teams are about to walk out on the 7 p.m. matches. Herediano Real Salt Lake is still 0-0. 0-0. 66th minute. I thought Herediano could upset RSL. RSL has not looked interesting. They have not looked anything good when it comes down to it. Honestly, I think Herediano's been the better team. And I don't think it's just because they're in Costa Rica. I think Herediano is the better team. I think Herediano legit looks like the better team. Seattle and Antigua are walking out as we speak. Stephen Fry will make the start for the Sounders. Mascherano shaking the hands of the sport and coaching staff. Miami and Kansas City are about to walk out. Woman refereeing crew for the Seattle game. Cool. That's pretty cool. Because it was easier to blend a ring from a indie promotion in Australia than fly a 20x20 ring over half the world. I love the offer, but no. But again, it's smarter just rent a ring out for a game or a show halfway across the world. And I guarantee you most of the rings in Australia are 16x16 or whatever. They did what they had to do with. I understand why. I can't blame him for that one. I'd like to, but I can't. Well, first of all, I don't have a valid passport, and you can't get one in 3 weeks. So that's the big problem. The only time I left this country was to go to Playa del Carmen, so that was 2005. I haven't had a valid passport in years. My parents don't either, but none of us do. I would love to. It's not that I don't want to. It's that you can't get a valid passport in 3 weeks. Like, even if you did have, like, expediting documents, it would still take about a month. So, over a month, so. As far as I know. Well, I mean, if you could take it, well, they should. They'll actually fill those arenas. Game's about to start in a minute. This both should be about a minute. Here we go. I just don't like him. I think he's a punk. I think he's a punk. He's a Peter Pan punk. I just don't like him. Teams are about to get going. Here we go. Oh, what a save by Herediano. Well, you better hope Devilic doesn't ruin that. Leibold, Volader, Rosero, Davis, Rodriguez, Bartlett, Radoja, Tommy, Joveljic, and Shallowy. Ha! They used the wrong player for Joveljic. In goals, Polskamp. for Kansas City for their starting 11. Mason Toy is on the bench for Kansas City, by the way. Just so you know. Marco Ortiz is center ref. Ismael Lopez, the VAR referee. For Miami, Ustadi, the back four, Allen, Lujan, Aviles, Weingart, midfield three, Segovia, Redondo, Busquets, front three, Alendi, Suarez, and Messi. Hasn't started yet. They did have the wrong picture for him. We're about to get going. Seattle just started 30 seconds in. Miami's about to start. And Herediano, 72nd minute, 16 seconds. We're about to get going in Kansas City. Seattle's a little bit ahead. Saved by Herediano. I think they ran a little bit late on the pregame festivities in Kansas City. Messi is wearing a lot of warm clothes. Here we go. Corner for Seattle. Throw in. Header. Cleared away. And Seattle still has the ball. Kansas City to start against Miami. Any second now. Come on. Here we go, and we're off. And we're off. We have Kansas City versus Miami, and we're off. They've begun 2 minutes in of the Seattle game. Another corner saved. And here comes Kansas City wearing their home kits. America 2-0. Throw in for Weingart. Playing forward is Miami. Oh my God, that pitch does look horrible though. Like it looks like half dead. Like some of that looks like dead grass. This is going to be fun. Again, Don, do you really think a fall spring schedule is going to work when you look at this? Stop it. Or any of the owners who think that's going to work. Goal! Goal for Seattle! Seattle scores 1-0. And it's Paul Arriola. Chips the keeper. 1-0 Seattle. Paul Arriola. Chips keeper. Seattle gets a goal. I would think it is, yeah. Boom. And Antigua GFC is down. RSL Herediano still 0-0. Kansas City Miami still 0-0, but it's only been 2 minutes, so that makes sense. Yep, it was Paul Arriola with a chip. Their brand new trade signing, whatever you want to call it. Kansas City playing forward. Seattle has an away goal lead. Herediano, nothing has happened with 15 minutes to go. Messi, oh! He just got bodied by a Kansas City defender, and now they get a free kick. Yeah, he did get ran through. Like, Voladair, I don't blame them making the call that way. So, 0-0 Herediano RSL, 0-1 Antigua Seattle, 0-0 Kansas City Miami. 0-0 Herediano contra Real Salt Lake. 0-1 Antigua contra Seattle Sounders. 0-0 Kansas City contra Miami. Canada. Hey, it's happened before. The USA wins a prelim game. Canada wins the gold. It's happened before in history. The 2010 Olympics, the golden goal. I feel like that's about to happen again. USA can't play the same exact way they played the first game. It may be in enemy territory, but hey, they won in enemy territory. So, to them. So, Canada will do what they always do. So, and the USA is too. The USA is too. So, 3-1 Canada. 3-1 Canada. I think Canada beats Wales and Romania. I think they're better than both of them. And honestly, I think they're a bit, I wouldn't say leagues better, but they're definitely better. They're definitely better than both Romania and Wales. They're better than both. Well, I mean, hey, when the president is saying your country is going to turn into the 51st state and he wants to tariff the shit out of your country, well, I understand why. Even though, well, the tariffs were real, even though they did get stopped. Will they ever be the 51st state? No, but even if you're trolling, you're going to get a reaction. So, for me, fifth minute. 0-0, settle. Kansas City ain't playing too bad. I'm surprised. Well, it's in Boston, so no, it's not going to get booed. Why would the U.S. anthem get booed? To the point it would be heard in Boston? You do realize Boston's in the United States, right? Like, yeah, the Canadians there might boo the U.S. anthem, but it's not going to be loud enough to hear. I would still put more money. That there'd be more USA fans. There's no reason for Americans to boo the Canadian anthem. At least not as much as 6 minute. Well, that would have been horrible. Just logistically horrible. Not even because it shouldn't have happened. The Vietnam War should have never happened, by the way. There was no reason for that war to happen. They sent American men to die in a meat grinder for no reason. But then again, ever since World War II, every war has honestly at least partially been that. Whether it's been the Vietnam War, the Korean War, Iraq, Iran, Desert Storm. I'm surprised they never put boots on the ground in Ukraine. No, that was just Ukrainian men getting thrown into a meat grinder. Miami playing forward. 7th minute. Ten minutes to go in the Herediano RSL game, still 0-0. Suarez shot wide. Suarez's shot goes wide. 7 minutes in. He was onside. Wide. RSL. And was it righteous that those civilians were killed? No, it wasn't. Save by Ustadi. It was not righteous at all. Those civilians weren't the enemy. Or whatever the perceived enemy was, they were not the perceived enemy. like the reason why those wars were so unmoral to go to wasn't just because the U.S. threw their own boys into a meat grinder. It's also because needless amounts of people died on both sides. And any war, of course, there's going to be death, but and needless death at that point, even in righteous wars. But to interesting. I have to find that. See if I can watch that. Interesting. If it's not, I can watch it if it's not on HBO Max or Prime. Apple TV is probably, you have to pay like $1 to watch it, so it can't be on Apple TV either. But if it's like on anything else. Corner from Miami. Plays through. Messi doesn't get there. Redondo plays through. That's out for a goal kick. Still 1-0 for Seattle in their game. Miami, still 0-0. Still 0-0 for Herediano RSL as well. Interesting. Kansas City with a free kick. I mean, if you can afford it and you have like expendable income to buy it, I mean, and you can, it's time for you to upgrade your phone. Yeah. If all those three things are true, yeah, I don't see why not. Cross cleared away. Dejan Jovic's cross is cleared for a corner. Like, yeah, if you got the expendable income, you can afford it, but also have the expendable income to where it wouldn't hurt you. Like, there's a difference between being able to afford it in general and having expendable income to afford it. There's two different things. Like, yeah, you might have the money, but would that money be better served going to rent or food or clothes, like needed clothes, or some of that nature? Save Bo Stadi, or do you have either way? There's two different ways. Like, you can afford something, have the money to buy it, but again, there's the question of, is that level of money, again, better served on rent, utilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you have the expendable income and you can't afford it and have the expendable income and it's time for you to upgrade, which it sounds like it is, do it. I wouldn't steer you wrong. So, do that what you will. Like, there's a difference between being able to afford something and also you can afford something, but would it hurt you to afford it? It's going to buy it in May. Well, if you could still run with your current iPhone for like 2 months, I wouldn't. 2.5 months. Why rush it? Why rush it? You know. Again, that's probably better to plan for it than like. If you already had a plan for it, follow that plan. Unless I'm reading that wrong, but like, yeah, if your old phone starts screwing up and turning really, really old and doing old phone things, then I guess you have to push that timeline forward. But if not, you could still use it for 2.5 months. Stick to the timeline, in my opinion. Playing forward, 13th minute. That'll be a free kick for Kansas City. I'm guessing. Yeah. Boom. Free kick for Kansas City. Free kick for KC. Well, I don't have as much subscribers as the CONCACAF. Unless you're talking about this match in the Seattle. Maybe because this wasn't supposed to be on Wednesday and the Sounders were. Besides, this is also on FS2. I just don't want to be dealing with college basketball. I think you're talking about the matches, not me. Of course I'm behind. CONCACAF has freaking almost 100, or a million subscribers. I don't. Whether I deserve to or not, that's a different question. Sabo Stoddy. Whether I deserve to be where they are is a question or not, but that's a question we can answer another time. But I mean, also, Herediano's got 3,000 people watching. So, I mean, you add that. I mean, that's a pretty good day. 2 minutes ago, Justin Glad's finally coming on for her Salt Lake. Nice. That is pretty cool. That would be cool. I'm surprised it didn't bring down Diego Luna. What happened to him? Like, I actually need to ask, what happened to Diego Luna? Like, why is he not playing against Herediano in Costa Rica? Like, is he hurt or something? You would think that they would play. Master Wenny doesn't seem like the type of manager to throw away a Champions League game since they're there. Cross it. I never thought so. Canada. Canada's winning one of the two trophies, at least, of CONCACAF. I say Canada wins. Diego Luna broken nose. Well, I mean, he could have, I guess he doesn't have the mask yet to play with it. But yeah, Canada's winning one of the CONCACAF trophies this year. I don't know which, but they're winning one of them. If they win both, amazing. But I'm saying we got to win one. They will win one. They'll win one of two, at least. If they win both, that'll be awesome. I'll be talking so much shit. If they do win both, it'll be awesome. 16th minute, Noah Allen shot, blocked away, shot over the bar. Didn't cause a breakaway. I still leaning USA over Canada. I'm still leaning USA over Canada. I feel like Canada will have one of the better squads at the Gold Cup. I think they will have one of the more stronger squads at the Gold Cup. 3 minutes left in the Herediano RSL game. Canada has not won since the 2000 Gold Cup. This is true. But you also have to recognize the fact they haven't been worth a shit since 2007 until we'll be nice and say 2019. They were only a contender. They were a contender for the early 2000s. They did finish third in 2002. 2007, they had a semifinal that ended really badly that they should have won. So, who's to say about that, you know? But ever since then, they were really horrible at the Gold Cup. And Nations League was just a recent invention. So, until 2019, you know, from 2008 to 2019, for like 10 years, Canada wasn't worth the shit on the men's side. So, there was some time where they got close after 2000, then they really fell off, and now they're back. And now they've been a contender since 2019. Craig Forrest was a good goalie. He was a really good goalie, yes. They'll be fine by March. I don't see, I'm not going to do the same thing with Pochettino that I did with BJ Callahan. Pochettino, I respect. I respect Pochettino. I think he's a very good coach. I could see him pulling the USA to a championship over Jesse Marsh, at least best on best. Now, if I'm wrong, great. If I'm wrong and Canada's in the final and wins the final, I'm going to be so happy. Don't get me wrong. I'll be very happy. But I'm not going to let myself down like I did in 2023. Like, that was such a good chance to win something, and they pissed it away so badly with Herdman against BJ Callahan. That hurt. Maybe I'm being careful to wait till they win to talk shit. Like, I think they will win the Gold Cup. I think Canada will have a better squad at the Gold Cup with the Club World Cup going on at the same time. With all that being said, I do think Canada will have their better squad than the USA and even Mexico. I think the USA, some of their squad's going to be at the Club World Cup instead, especially the bigger guys. So that may be a C team, which I don't know if you want that, but I think Canada is less affected by the Club World Cup. So, playing forward, depending on what Jonathan David does, but even then, in that case, I trust Jesse Marsh more with lesser players even then than I do Poch. So, I do trust Jesse Marsh with lesser players, though. So, I think that's why Canada wins the Gold Cup. That's why I'm more sure about that one than the other. 20th minute. And it's full time between Herediano and Salt Lake. It is 0-0 in Costa Rica between Herediano and Salt Lake. 0-0. So, no away goals, but no home goals either. But Herediano did beat Toluca in Toluca, so who's to say? 20th minute, 0-0, 0-0. Kansas City, Miami. But there you go. Okay. Yep, it stayed 0-0. Boom. Hold on. Okay, maybe they're not as affected as I thought. But I also kind of see Pulisic taking the summer off anyway. Just a hunch. I mean, he hasn't been to the Gold Cup since what? 2019? It'd be weird for him to actually do it. But I don't know. I feel like he likes taking summers off, but maybe he feels healthy enough. Real Madrid beat Man City. Let's go. All right. 6-3. I had to make sure. Okay, Madrid's through. 22nd minute. Seattle, 23rd minute, still 0-1 for Seattle. Shot, goal! Antigua GFC ties it up. 1-1. Goal for Antigua GFC. Goal. 2 or 1-1. 1-1. Uno. What a tie. Kansas City, Miami still 0-0, by the way. Seattle is tied by Antigua GFC. Interesting. Okay. Didn't expect that. Kansas City, Miami are trying to figure this game out. I'd say there have been good moments for either team. Both teams are defending very well offensively. Because, I mean, managers weren't good enough. Their players, like half their roster didn't even have a club sometimes. Like, have you ever heard the term unattached FC? Like, legitimately, before Alphonso Davies, like Canada's players, some of their main national team players didn't even have a club at times. Sometimes, like, it was that bad. Like, there was at least, like, unattached FC was a thing for Canada. Like, some of their players that they always trusted on the national team level sometimes didn't have a club. were unattached FC. Like, that was a thing. Like, if half of the players you trust to be on your main starting 11 or club squad is unattached, you have problems. The fact that was a meme was a bad thing. Canadian players have gotten way more opportunities because they've earned their opportunities over the past 7 years. So that's a good thing. Honestly, I don't think Canada will miss Davies, to be fair. Honestly, they could live without him. Whether Loré or Atakubi play on that side, they could live without him. Alphonso Davies, in my opinion, under Jesse Marsch, I mean, Canada's done fine without him recently. It's not just him. Let's not act like it's just him. Like, yeah, he's the captain, but if he's not at the Gold Cup, so be it. I mean, Atakube or Larea will play that side. They'll be fine. Ali Ahmed, maybe. I don't know. Either way, they'll be fine. As I said, I'm not worried about it not being the best squad. I trust Jesse Marsch with a lower level squad, as in not perfect squad. I trust Jesse Marsch more than Poch. And I don't blame him. Do it. I'd be mad if we needed him. If we actually needed him, I'd be mad. We don't. Like, he's better this year, but do we actually need him? I don't know. 26th minute. Cross in. Redondo. Cross in, cleared. Played forward by Miami, but still they are very much struggling. Kansas City very much making Miami struggle. Which I'm shocked, to be fair. Like, I'm shocked. 0-0, 0-0. 1-1 between Antigua and Seattle, but sadly for Antigua, Seattle does have the away goal. So even if they win, that's starting to get a little bit questionable. Antigua is playing a pretty good game, though. 26-minute plays through. That'll be saved by Polskamp. Kicked away for Miami. .26-minute. Just because Lille are not there. Jonathan David might be available for the Gold Cup, but let's also remember he's a free agent. He might go to a team that's at the Club World Cup. Can you really miss that if you're Jonathan David? Why do you like misspelling my name? Huh? 27th minute. Save. Now, if he's gone, I might be a bit more worried. Like, if Jonathan David chooses a team in the Club World Cup and he chooses to go to the Club World Cup, then I might be a little bit more worried. If he's not at the Gold Cup, then you might see me sweat. I'm not sweating over Alphonso Davies, though. Jonathan David, though. Oh, it's the voice to text. Okay, I get it. Fair enough. Yeah, I understand that. Well, thank you to your supervisor. That's nice. That's nice. I love the compliment, but honestly, I don't know. Frankly, I'd rather see USA versus Canada. I'd rather see a country, kind of like the Four Nations face-off. I think basketball could do that, a similar type of competition that actually matters. Like Team USA versus Team Canada versus Team Australia versus Team, hell, Europe. You could just make it Team Europe, you know? Or Team Canada, Team USA, Team Europe, Team Caribbean, Team whatever. Like a small tournament. And make that like a week or two long tournament and just do it like the Four Nations face-off. Of course, it would just have to be NBA players, but there's a lot of Canadians in the NBA. Of course, a lot of Americans, but still, there may be some lower level players that are American that have Caribbean heritage that might want to play for the Caribbean teams. Who knows? You have to pull from the G League, you pull from the G League. But, I don't know if it helps the gameplay itself, but I would rather watch a NBA sanctioned international tournament over the All-Star game. I feel like people would care more about playing for their country or being the best NBA/G League player, top 15 from like a country or region, depending if you have to make a roster, like depending. Like NBA versus the world or World NBA or some like that. Or, yeah, Team Africa. I mean, Masai Ujiri would be loving that because of the Giants of Africa program he started. But there's a lot of African players in the NBA. You could do a Team Africa. Or, hell, Regional Rumble. And the USA and Canada get their own teams because they're so big and they have enough players. Regional Rumble. That's better. The NBA Regional Rumble. And USA, Canada get their own teams because they have enough players. But you have the Caribbean. You have Asia. Australia probably makes up most of that. Africa, Caribbean, Europe, USA, Canada. 7 teams and G League. Do G League Rising Stars and just make that an 8th team. If you have to throw the G League Rising Stars in there just to make it 8, you do it. Screw it. But make it a knockout tournament. 1-game knockout. 3 games, you win a trophy. The in-season tournament sort of worked. Why not do it for an international sort of competition? Will the games be better? I think people would care more. Would the fundamentals be there? No, but I think we're way past that. I think we're way past basketball fundamentals mattering anymore. I don't think we could save the way they play the game, but I definitely think we can make it more interesting and more cared about, which that's kind of half the battle. Like, do they actually care? Like, the games are better when they actually care, which is why it's better to watch the NBA playoffs in the regular season. Why the in-season tournament worked. Like, it's a little bit more bearable when they actually care. When the teams actually care and they actually compete, it's a little bit more bearable. Regular season, they don't. In-season tournament, they compete. It's bearable. It's more bearable. The NBA playoffs, they compete. But I'm not sure. I think they'll suck again, in my opinion. They're fraudulent anyway. I think they'll suck again. So do with that what you will. I only count the Gold Cups from 2004. Mexico and USA both have 6 Gold Cups. Canada have 1 Gold Cup prior to 2000. It's amateur. They don't count. I agree with that. I could agree with that. I understand that. Same with the CONCACAF Champions League. Only the 2010 counts. Prior to that's amateur. Liga MX has 14. MLS has 1. So when Toronto made the final, that counts. I'll take it. That still counts. Good. But Montreal's final counts, but RSL's doesn't. Ha. Wait. Maybe. Wait. Whoa. No, RSL's final counts. That feels so prehistoric compared to Toronto and Montreal. Good. I think RSL's closer to the line than Toronto and Montreal. Shot wide! I think they're just on the line. I think theirs is just on the line, but I'll have to check. Wasn't 2012. I think it was 2010. Hold on. It's 2009 or 2010. Mm-hmm. 2009, 2000, it was 2010, 2011. That's still questionable to me. Yeah, but is it? Yeah, internationally, I mean, yeah, USA and Mexico were starting to become professional, but I think everything else, yeah, it's the base, but sometimes the base isn't truly as sturdy as you would think. 35th minute, cross in, cleared. I still think Crapeau is better. And honestly, I still don't think he's better than Panamis or Gavron, to be fair. I don't think he's as good as people like to say. I mean, they should. They should. Like, I don't see why they wouldn't, unless they just choose not to. But I think Mexico's in the position where they have to bring their full squad if they can. Cross in. Header! Wide by Kansas City. Rosero puts it wide. Horrible. Waste of time. Herediano played well. I won't say they didn't. I think Herediano legitimately is the better team over Salt Lake. It's not just because they played in Costa Rica, but my God. I think Herediano could still upset Salt Lake. I picked them to do it before the tournament. I still think they can. I think they will. I don't care if they're playing in Salt Lake next week. Salt Lake is horrible. I don't care if Diego Luna's playing or not. I don't know what Salt Lake was trying to do. I think they will have a bad season. I think they're trash. Like, I'm not wrong to say they're trash. I thought they were trash going in. That didn't look like preseason, working out of preseason legs. That looked like they were trash. In theory, yes. They had a horrible offseason. They got rid of their best player that made them good. That made them as good as they were. Hell, where they finished last year was sort of a fraudulent finish, as you saw when they played in the playoffs. When Minnesota knocked them out. Minnesota at the time was better. Like, a third place finish for RSL last year was fraudulent as all hell. The second half, they were horrible. They were backsliding so hard it wasn't even funny. Now they got rid of their best player. Diego Luna had a really good season because he was playing into Chicho Arango. Him alone? Going to play into Forster or Jago if he does play? And they have a new goalkeeper, which, honestly, I don't know if that was too smart. They legitimately look mid if not worse. At best, they'll be mid. On paper, yeah. But RSL's had a lot of questions, and I'll stick with it. I picked Seattle to win the tie. I think they'll win at home. They have an away goal, and they should win at home, even if they lose tonight. So, and they have the away goal. So I'm not worried about the Seattle prediction being wrong. 1-1 in Guatemala. First game of the year for Seattle. That sounds about right. They still should be able to hold on. Kansas City, Miami. I'd say it's been pretty even. Exactly. I'd say it's been pretty even, in my opinion. I'd say it's been pretty even. When you look at the game, I think Miami's had their chances. I think Kansas City's defended very well. Miami's trying to figure them out. Kansas City does not look like a bum team right now. I have to say, they don't look like a bum team, which is crazy. I expect them to look like bums. Hell, they look better than RSL does. I have them both on computer and TV. I have one on the computer, one on the TV. I'm watching both. I'm only reviewing Kansas City, Miami, but I am watching both. Honestly, I think Seattle Antigua is better of a game, but I'm watching both. Yeah. Back to Pulse Camp. It's cleared. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. That's tomorrow. Vancouver Saprisa's tomorrow, but we're not covering it. I'm not covering it. I'm covering the Four Nations Face-Off Final, USA, Canada, because a best-on-best hockey country international final is better than a random CONCACAF game that, honestly, Vancouver's going to play like crap in anyway. I didn't say Vancouver would get eliminated over 2 legs. I just said they play like crap tomorrow. A international hockey best-on-best Canada-USA final is way better than a random CONCACAF first-round game. It is. It is. You may disagree. Hockey's my 1B sport. I love hockey, and it's USA-Canada. I'm sure, honestly, I think that would do better numbers-wise anyway. The Four Nations final would probably do better numbers-wise anyway on my channel. So, I'll still do the second leg of Vancouver Saprissa when there's nothing covering it. When there's nothing covering it on next Thursday. But this is like a one-time thing. I mean, I don't know if they'll bring back the Four Nations. I think they're only doing it to just lead up to the Olympics, and then 2 years after the Olympics, they do the World Cup of Hockey, and then every 2 years it's Olympics, World Cup, which isn't bad, but this Four Nations setup is probably a one-time thing, so Canada, USA, possibly a one-time thing. With how that first game went, yeah, I'm doing it. USA, Canada. Honestly, numbers-wise, I think it'll do better anyway. So even if I didn't want to do it, just to do it and watch it, I think it'll do better anyway. So than Vancouver Saprissa. So worth the shot. Either way, Weingarten plays it back. Still 1-1 for Antigua, Seattle. They're going to be in stoppage time in a minute. Miami's got a couple more minutes after that. Exactly. That's what I was just saying. And let's also remember, by the way, that talking about the Four Nations, if I know a couple of y'all will be here, normal people, the normal crew will be here. It'll be over. It is Stanley Cup playoff overtime for the final. It is not 3-on-3 for 10 minutes. It is going to be 20-minute periods, 5-on-5 until there's a winner. The Nations game is on TNT. No, ESPN. My bad. No, it's ESPN. Why was I thinking TNT? ESPN. The last games were on TNT. It's going to be a ESPN tomorrow. ESPN. I think the Stanley Cup Finals on TNT this year, though. So maybe that's what I was confused with. I think the Finals TNT this year. Last year was ESPN. So TNT's the Stanley Cup Final this year. Yeah, that's what I was getting confused with. But speaking of Stanley Cup Final overtime, that's what got me. Yeah. Stanley Cup playoffs overtime style for tomorrow, if there is overtime, which wouldn't shock me if there was. 20 minutes, 20-minute periods, but they go till there's a winner. 5-on-5, normal hockey. So if there's a winner before the 20 minutes elapse in the first overtime, game's over. If it's still tied after 20 minutes, there's another intermission, another overtime period. If it's another, it could go 7 periods. It could go 7 rounds or 7 periods. 7 rounds. The game could go 7 periods. It could go 8. I don't think it will. It'd be interesting if it did. But it is Stanley Cup playoff style overtime tomorrow, if there is, which I would not be shocked if it goes to overtime. No shootout, no 3-on-3, 20 minutes, normal 5-on-5 hockey till there's a winner. If there's overtime. Normally it ends before the first 20 minutes of overtime elapse, but halftime of the Seattle game or the Miami game. Miami halftime 0-0, 0-0. Miro tiempo esta noche. Seattle is still going until the 47th minute. They had 3 minutes of stoppage time. So do with that what you will. Miami. Their performance kind of sucked. I think Kansas City's doing a better job than I expected. Let's let this get to extra or halftime as well, the Seattle game. Then we'll take a break. Then we'll talk about the stats of the half of the Miami game. Maybe I'll give some thoughts about the Seattle game as well. But should be halftime any second now for the Seattle game. I hate the Bruins. At least Miami's NHL team is winning. Miami's a contender. Halftime, 1-1. 1-1. Antigua contra Seattle. Miro tiempo. Seattle drawing Antigua GFC at the half. Can't say I didn't expect that. Well, can't say I kind of did. I'm not going to lie. I thought it'd be a tough performance for Seattle. I didn't think they'd be drawing, especially after taking the lead. So, not that it'll matter. I think they'll still win the tie. But with that being said, Sit Tie be back. Halftime. Take a short break at the half. 0-0. 0-0. Kansas City, Miami. 1-1. 1-1. Antigua, Seattle. Miro tiempo. Sit tight. We're back for the stats at the half. Here we go. 3 shots to 7, 1 shot on goal to 2, 0 assists to 0, 3 steals to 10, 3 fouls to 6, 41% possession to 59% possession, 2 offside to 0, 3 corners to 3, 2 corners to 3, my bad. 178 correct passes, 299, 36 incorrect passes to 37, 214 pass to 336, 83% pass accuracy to 89% pass accuracy, 0 yellows to 0, 0 red cards to 0, 0-0 at the half, 0-0 esta noche. It's Kansas City contra Miami. Honestly, I think Miami has slightly been the better team situationally throughout the match. I think the way it looks for me, I think Miami slightly has looked like the better team. Even though I think Kansas City's defended very well, I think they've definitely made Miami look toothless, but Miami's had the ball more than Kansas City. But I think Kansas City defensively has been very good, in my opinion. So, So far, I think Kansas City definitely are on behind the 8 ball, but I don't think they're as bad off as I expected them to be. Now, Seattle, their game, it's gone about as expected, I would say. Maybe not the score line, but I thought it would be tough for Seattle. They did open the scoring, but they did get tied up with Antigua later on in the first half. 1-1 draw, sort of expected. Maybe not exactly the way it went down, but Seattle definitely is showing their power over Antigua, but Antigua's fighting. So there's my thoughts on that. But I think both favorites are looking slightly better, if not are the better teams. So we'll see how the rest of this goes. But we will move on to the second half, see how it's going, and watch these and finish the review for the Miami game. And while that's going, I'll be watching the Motagua-Cincinnati game as well on my own, seeing what's going on. Tomorrow, of course, we got the Four Nations final, Canada, USA. See how that goes, but let's watch these next 45 minutes. Huh. Well, we'll wait for the second half to start. I don't think the men's roster has been that bad, but yeah, I would agree about the women's roster. Interesting. Fair enough. Second half's about to start. Oh, Lord. Players and coaches are among those who favor seeing MLS shift to international calendar. Are you stupid? Players and coaches want an international calendar. Let me guess. Players in frickin' Miami? Players in frickin' LA? Second half's about to start. Here we go. Second half has started. Let's go, Sporting, says Arrow Banana. Let's see what happens. Second half for Antigua, Seattle starting as well. Nice. That should be fun. Kansas City playing forward. Joaquin Fernandez is on for Danny Rosero. Timbers had their fan forum. Listen to that today. Okay. Kansas City playing forward. We are ready to go. Okay. We're off. 0-0. 1-1. Still seeing how these go. Two more matches after this to finish the first legs of round one. One more week of round one after this. And then we go to the round of 16 to start March. Plays forward. Miami, here's a chance. Cross. Top of the box and cleared. Oh, but I will say this. My jersey, my Toronto jersey shipped today. So my Toronto jersey shipped today, so it should be here from next Monday to next Friday. So I should be able to wear. So very likely I should be able to wear the new TFC jersey for match day 2. Who knows? Maybe it'll be here before Saturday. That would be crazy, but Segovia playing forward. Cross in, blocked away. .49th minute. I mean, if they think you should do it, I don't see why you shouldn't. It's a good move. If it gets you more money and people think you're cut out for it, I don't see why not. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I mean, if you think you're cut out for it, if somebody thinks you're cut out for it, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. .50th minute. So, yeah, don't see why not. Good. As long as he's there pretty quickly, you can survive. 51st minute. Kansas City, Miami, 0-0. 0-0. .51st minute. .52nd minute. I agree with this. Who looks at last night or every winter storm we get in the States and think, yeah, I want to play in that? Weather for tonight's SKC Miami game is 4 degrees Fahrenheit and kickoff with a -8 wind chill. Playing a winter calendar is idiotic everywhere except Florida, Texas, and California. Exactly. Like, who thinks? And the players actually favor a winter calendar. Coaches favor it. You are the dumbest people I have. Well, I guess y'all were jocks in college. What the hell? Unless I read the article, it says, oh, LAFC players favor a fall spring schedule. Miami players favor it. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Because they play in hot weather. I don't think anybody who plays in Kansas City would be like, yeah, I favor a fall spring schedule. If you favor a fall spring schedule, you're either a Euro snob or you live in Florida, Texas, or California. You're out of your damn mind. And I understand the Florida players, even though they'd have to realize they play in cold places. They can play in cold places. Cross in during that fall spring schedule. But at least they don't live there. Euro snobs who say it should be fall spring because that's what the best leagues do. You're out of your mind. Horrible idea. Like Mexico, it works. Even though they split the seasons, it's warm in Mexico. It's not cold in Mexico, or at least not snowy. Unless I'm wrong, I've never heard of snow in Mexico. They have a very tropical climate. And most of the teams are on the mainland. So even though I understand why their season is Apertura Clausura, but it's August to May, I get it. I can understand that, even if they do split the season. MLS has no right and none to be playing in December besides one game. It depends on where that game's hosted. Some parts it does, but it's rare. Probably more the mountains, though. Probably more the Rocky Mountains that dip down into Mexico, because I think they do, don't they? Mountains, I get it, but I've never seen those either. Mountains, it's colder at the top. I get it, but I would guess that's the case. But like on the ground, like Pachuca, one of the highest places on the continent. Goal! Miami scores a goal! Lionel Messi! 1-0 or 0-1. 0-1 Miami. Messi scores the goal to take the lead for Miami with the away goal. Finally, Messi scores against Kansas City. Or Miami does, but Lionel Messi's the one. 0-1 esta noche. 0-1 on the night. Busquets plays the ball on over the top. Messi's right there. Brings it down. Runs past defender to the far post. Beautiful play by Messi. And it's a goal. Exactly. And I don't think the schedule's the reason why we're smaller. I think it's the salary cap. There's different things that can be fixed to make this league grow. Frankly, get rid of the salary cap. That's more of a problem than the schedule. By the way, Argentina plays January to December. Brazil plays January to December. They don't have problems getting players. Messi scores 56th minute. Miami is the lead. I guess there was a streaker that ran on the field that wanted. I think that was a streaker. I think it was. Shot saved by. I think that was a streaker. I'm not too sure. Oh, Jesus Ferreira played it to Areola. Well, that makes sense. They've been playing for a while together. 57th minute. 1-0 Miami. 0-1 esta noche. Messi scores the goal. I don't think it'll happen. I think MLS will realize that it's probably a stupid decision and in the end not play a fall spring calendar. But worst comes to worst, play at Red Bull Arena for half the year. Either way, Exactly. Like, get rid of the salary cap. That's what'll grow the league. Like, we're strong enough. We're stable enough to get rid of the salary cap. I get early on you didn't want to go the way of the NASL. I get that. I get that was a cautionary tale. 30 years in, the league is stable enough to get rid of the salary cap, or at least way extend it, way grow it. If you have to keep the salary cap, $4 million minus DPs, no, it's more than that, right? It's got to be. That doesn't even sound right. Maybe it's more like 14, 15, but either way, minus DPs, only about multi-million-dollar salary cap. Come on. This league is better than that. This league is better than that at this point. It can handle at least 50 million, if not 75 million. Save, cleared away, if not 75 million, if not 100 million. You don't need DPs, you don't need TAM, you don't need GAM. Now, the thing that does give me hope is the cash trade. This cash trade mechanism does give me hope that if they're going to start doing cash trades in MLS, that maybe the training wheels will come off at some point, or at least to a very, very lesser of training wheels, if not completely. This cash trade thing is a very good thing. I think that's a very good sign, in my opinion. The cash trades, trading players for cash, being able to do that, I think that's a very, very, very good sign. That's a very good sign that things are changing, in my opinion. Instead of funny money or player for player, it's cash trades. That's good. Might as well, you're kind of opening your in-league transfer market finally. So that's good. And teams have used it. They've definitely, ever since the Dejan Joveljic deal, teams have quickly started using cash trades. So that's a good thing. That it isn't just been put into practice, but it's been used. And it's been used a lot over the past month, give or take. Like, yes, Kansas City started the fire, but it's definitely started to be used more. So that's a good thing. And people like the mechanism. So that's a good thing. Could be worse. 60th minute. 0-1 Miami. And Seattle scores 1-2. Pedro de la Vega. Seattle scores a goal. 1-2, 1-2. Looks to me like it was Pedro de la Vega. Hey, finally scored. Oh, man! Golazo! Yep, Pedro de la Vega. Golazo. It took a deflection, but it went in. It went in. All time or currently? Cool. Any from San Francisco? I think that's why, because San Jose is pretty close. But Pedro de la Vega scores the goal with a big deflection. 1-2, 1-2. Probably top 15. Good. Goal for Seattle. Dejan Joveljic is off from Manu Garcia. Seattle's bringing on Denby, I'm thinking. All time. Top 15. Seattle gets the goal. They take the lead back. Yeah, I think that was Denby who came on for Kansas City. 62nd minute. But Miami is leading. They took off Danny Rosero, Tim Leibold, and Dejan Joveljic for Logan Denby, Manu Garcia, and Willie Agata. And playing forward, this might be some. Daniel Shallowy saved by Ustadi. Wow, almost. What a pass. What a pass, man. If Shallowy just put that a little bit further to the side, that was going to go in. If that just curled a little bit, Shallowy would have scored a goal there. Damn. Well, I mean, at least they are. I mean, I didn't think they'd win this tie. I know you want Seattle to lose, but I'm being real. I don't think they were going to lose this tie. So, do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. I think they're fighters. I mean, are they the best team? No, but do they fight? Yes. I think that's... I don't know about that. I still think Cruz Azul could beat Seattle, but the way Cruz Azul's been playing, I don't know. I think Cruz Azul will, but we'll see. Let's get there first. Seattle could beat Cruz Azul. I still think on paper Cruz Azul's the better team slightly. I'm not saying you're wrong, but are you a Seattle fan? Or you just want MLS to win? Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. You're an MLS, all the time guy. Definitely the bottom to the middle, yes. At the top, I think it's still pretty tight. But MLS can win. But I think the MLS has to, especially at home, I think MLS is definitely better than Liga MX's players. Now, or teams. Now, on the road, I still think it's hard for MLS to win. So it depends on where the game is held. It's 1-0. It's 1-0 Miami. Y'all are better than Kansas City. NYCFC are better than Kansas City. You'll be fine. Like, you may lose. Yeah, it's possible. Destroyed? No, not destroyed. Okay? The Kansas City are worse than NYCFC. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Well, they definitely were. They had diarrhea. They had no sleep. Pachuca absolutely ran them roughshod as well. I think it was a different situation. Like, I think them having, like, if Columbus were at the peak of their powers, I don't think it would have been 3-0 Pachuca. But they had diarrhea. They had no sleep. They had a bug. They got ran roughshod. And they basically had no physicality to beat Pachuca and stop them from being ran roughshod. So I think it was a different situation. I do. They were amazing last year, especially when they beat Tigres on the road, when they beat Monterrey on the road. I just think the way it ended, like, Pachuca was very much, everything went their way during that final. Off the pitch, on the pitch, preparation-wise, everything went their way. If Columbus were at top peak shape and they didn't have the shits and they actually could get some sleep and they prepared well, I think they would have been better off. Could they have still lost 1-0? Maybe. Do I think Pachuca would have ran them roughshod like they did? No. But sadly enough, they weren't at peak shape. They had the bubble guts. They couldn't get any sleep. They were sick. They had a stomach bug. They couldn't practice well. They had no energy. They got ran roughshod. Do I think it looks worse because of that? Yes. Do I think if everything was perfect, could they have still lost? Yes. Would they have? I say no. Well, I don't know. They could have definitely won, but I didn't criticize them for losing the final. I'm just being real. I gave them credit for winning on the road twice. But again, 3 times in a row. And also, those two were two-legged ties. So, again, it's a different sort of, it has belief. No. I don't think I was dissing them for losing the final, but not giving. I gave them credit. Hold on. Maybe it sounds different to you. I gave them credit, in my opinion, but when they beating Monterrey and Tigres on the road. Santos is dumb. Yes, I'm doing the Four Nations tomorrow. I don't think I was dissing them, but maybe you hear it different. Maybe I don't think I was dissing Columbus. Maybe you heard it differently. I don't know. It didn't sound like it to me. But I don't know. Maybe calling it like it was sounds like a diss to you. I don't know. Like, yeah, amazing. You won in Monterrey twice at El Volcan and BBVA. Amazing. It's hard to do. It's also very hard to go to the highest point in Mexico against a team who is very physical and very energetic while having the bubble guts, not being able to practice, having a stomach bug, not sleeping. Of course the final ended up the way it did. And honestly, that doesn't sound like dissing Columbus. That sounds like excuses. Frankly, that sounds like excuses, if anything. I don't think that's a diss. They got bossed by a real team. Of course they were. And honestly, the first half wasn't bad, but still. Pachuca actually played a really good first half, but still. I think if it was two-legged, Columbus would have won. Honestly, well, they would have hosted the first leg, so that would have made it a lot easier. Yes, I do agree. I do agree that they would have had a better chance to win if it was two-legged or they didn't have the bubble guts. I think things didn't go their way. But that's also you're riding your luck. Also, when you're Columbus, do I still think they should have won that tournament last year? Frankly, yes. Do I think they were riding good luck? Not in a bad way. But do I think that their luck ran out going into that final? I agree. And they won the Leagues Cup. I don't think they played any Mexican teams, but they won the Leagues Cup, so there you go. They also did that. I don't know if they played a Mexican team. I don't. Hold on. NYCFC, Miami. Oh, no. Fafa Pico's on for today, Olendi. Tigres. Pachuca went through. Toronto played Miami. Pachuca played Tigres, right? Columbus played Kansas City, yep, because of the bye, yeah. So, and they had the bye, so yeah. LAFC, That's a pretty good win. Miami. So, still 1-2 Seattle. So, again, they only played a Mexican team in the Campeones. Yep. And the Champs Cup. So, both. But yes. I was like, no, they didn't play Mexican team in Leagues Cup, but they still won. Either way, again, I do believe that Columbus deserved to win that tournament. Point blank, period. Same. Like, I do believe Columbus deserved to win the Champions Cup last year. I do think they were hard done by their own bodies. And whoever gave them the freaking bubble guts, I don't know who did. Whether that was their chef, whether it was they actually made organic food in Mexico. Oh, yeah, you're listening to me. So, in the end, 74th minute. Do I think they got... But again, here comes Seattle. Oh, good tackle by Antigua. I don't want to pay for FS2. I have both. I just don't want to worry about college basketball. It's them damn college basketball games. Going to flip on to the freaking FS2 instead. So, you know what? I'm good with how I have it. So it is what it is. But then watch it on YouTube. How's MLS full season work? So, in the regular season, you play everybody in your conference home and away, and you play Eastern teams play 6 games. So you're playing 14, 28 games. You play 6 interleague games of the other conference, 3 at home, 3 away. Now there's 15 teams per conference. You play 28 games against your own conference, home and away. You play 6 teams in the other conference, 3 home, 3 away. Top 9 teams make the playoffs per conference. 8v9 play a wild card game to play the number 1 seed in the quarterfinals. Then you have a best of 3 series in the first round of the playoffs in each conference of the top of the 8 teams. The wild card winner plays the first seed, the top of the conference. Everybody else plays 2, 7, 3, 6, 5, 4. It's a 3-game series. If the games are tied after 90 minutes, they go straight to penalties. The winner of the shootout wins the game if there's a tie. Same as the wild card. The wild card will go straight to penalties if tied after 90. The team who wins penalties wins the game. Okay. If you win 2 out of 3 games, whether it's 2-0 or 2-1, you move on to the next round of the playoffs. From then on, conference semis, conference finals, MLS Cup final, 120 minutes, penalties after 90 minutes, extra time if needed, penalties after 120. Single elimination, 1 game after the international break in November. So you have first round, you have most of the MLS season, October break, decision day after the October break, first round and wild card before the November break, international break. After that, the final 3 rounds of the season, single elimination, the weekends, the final 3 weekends of the season. We'll see. I would hope so. Interesting. 76-minute, 0-1. So basically, very convoluted. Oh, by the way, the team who has the best points, the best amount of points throughout the whole league, wins the Supporters' Shield. So the 30-team table, there's also a 30-team table. The best team in the league who has the most points wins the Supporters' Shield at the end of the regular season. So there is a team for winning. There is a trophy for winning the league. The full-on league. So there's also a 30-team table, Supporters' Shield table. That also matters when it comes to MLS Cup hosting rights. That also matters for that, by the way. So you want to see who hosts MLS Cup? You look at the Shield table. Exactly, as well. So, like the Prem, the Supporters' Shield's like the Prem trophy. But in MLS, Supporters' Shield basically just grants you're the top team in the league, and if you go to the final, you host the MLS Cup final. You host every game except for the second game in the first round series until the final. You would host 4 games at home at least, if not 5, if you go to all 3 games in the first round. Like Miami, they hosted game 1 and 3 during the first round last year. They got eliminated, but if they would have moved on, they would have hosted their next round game. They would have hosted the semifinal, the conference final. They would have hosted the MLS Cup final. So in that case, you would possibly could host 5 games in the playoff. 4 to 5, depending on how the first round series goes. If you're a Shield winning team, you probably should only be 4 games hosted by you. You still would have to play on the road for game 2. But 1 game on the road, 5 at home, at worst, if you go all the way, it's not bad. It's not bad. If you're second in the conference, it's very likely you host 3 games. Possibly 4, depending on what happens to the first seed. But again, the MLS Cup final hosting rights is based off the Shield table as well. So if you're the number 1 team, you make the final, you host the MLS Cup. If you're number 2 and number 1 doesn't make the final, but you make the final, you host. Basically, if you're a top 4 seed in each conference, you'll probably have a slight chance at least to host the cup, depending on what happens. The playoffs are very chaotic. Yeah, but I still think RSL's a trash club. I really think they're a trash team. Redondo gets a yellow card. Miami still leads 1-0. So the best team in the league wins the Shield and home field advantage throughout the playoffs if they make it to the final. Until they get eliminated, they have home field advantage. In theory, I guess they still could get eliminated game 2 on the road in the first round, but that'd be very embarrassing. That'd be very embarrassing. Losing on the road in game 2 after losing at home in game 1. So, corner for Kansas City. Be very embarrassing. At least Miami took it to game 3, or it went 3 games. So, 80th minute. Seattle's still winning over Antigua. Cross in. Top of the box. I'll be cleared by Miami. Redondo. Oh! Slipped. I love MLS. I do too. Leon's doing good this year. Yep, thanks to James Rodriguez. They do have a good manager, though. Miami leads with 9 minutes plus stoppage time to go with the away goal. Seattle leads 9 minutes to go, 2-1 with the away goals. So, there's that for you. Damn. 81st minute. '82nd minute. I agree. Pachuca I still think they deserve to be here. Like the champions of the year before should be in the tournament. I don't know why, especially with 27 teams now. Our FIFA coming on for Kansas City. Like, worst comes to worst, replace the 3rd place team of Leagues Cup with the Champions League champions. At worst. I don't know. I would expect it to be more full. I'm actually kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked now that you mention it. You would think they'd be full. Playing an MLS team, this is big. No, it's not worth it. The group stage is not worth it. No. Keep the current format if you have to replace the 3rd place team of Leagues Cup with the Champions League champions. If they don't re-qualify, do it. We don't need a group stage. That makes this tournament worse. You know who's going through 90 times out of 100, 95 times out of 100 out of a group. Leave it as it is. Leave it as it is. Because there's actually competition in group stages. CONCACAF, there's no competition. Like, yeah, it might be hard to play on the road, but in the end, the Mexican team and MLS team are going to finish top 2 in the group. Like, maybe one rare time do they not. You might as well just do a round 1 and round of 16. I mean, yeah, the same situation sort of applies, but this is true. But they're also in Guatemala. It's hard for teams playing Central America. Yeah, but at least Serie A does get out of the group stage. At least Ligue 1 gets out of the group stage. At least even the freaking Ecuadorian league gets out of the group stage in Copa Libertadores. I guarantee you that if you brought back the group stage, there'd be 1, maybe 2 a year non-MLS Mexican teams that get out of the group stage in CONCACAF. Is that worth it? Is that worth it? And you could say, but round 1 and the round of 16 honestly aren't worth it either. But at least they have a chance. I'd rather play 2 games than 6. Yeah, then what about Leagues? Well, that's true. Leagues Cup would be out of commission if there was a group stage. This is true. But what about the Canadian Championship? What about the Open Cup? That's 6 for MLS. CanChamp is very likely going to bring out an MLS Canadian team, and Open Cup brings out a U.S. team. So that's 6. So that's 6 for MLS. So let's just be clear. That's 6 for MLS. Yeah, Carranza winning for Feyenoord was awesome, though. Good for him. Pretty much, he was Santi's replacement, and he knocks him out. That was pretty... Well, they never... Well, Copa MX. Well, yeah, you could give Copa MX a spot, too. So there's 5 for Liga MX. There you go. But 1 through Copa MX. Good. You know, I agree. Do it. Or if you do it, half Apertura and Clausura, like they did sometimes, there's 6 for them, too. Very likely. I mean, yeah, it could be an Ascenso team, but good. But I guess that is better than Leagues Cup. And then 2 CPL teams, I would hope. 2 CPL teams. 86-minute. 2 Canadian Premier League teams. I mean, yeah, if you equal it out like that, I guess, yeah, some would have to get through. I guess some would have to get through if you equal it out like that. But you got a point. Some would have to get out. Well, good, but he won't take it. I guess some would have to get out just because some will get easier groups. That is a good point. That is a good point. Miami playing forward. Suarez. If Miami scores a second, this ties over. What a weak tackle. Just sticks his foot back out. Honestly, I'd like to see if Ryan Reynolds could put a group together. Why? Because he would keep them in Vancouver. I think he is from Vancouver or British Columbia. He's from closer to there, I think, if I remember correctly. I mean, he already has Necaxa, owns parts of that. He owns Wrexham. Might as well. You know, he's close. He's from close to Vancouver. He keeps them in Vancouver. And honestly, I'd like to see him stay in Vancouver, frankly. Like, if he doesn't purchase it, they're going to freaking go to Vegas or something. And honestly, do I want that? No, not really. Like, I don't want to see Montreal get sold to a non-Quebecer and move to Detroit, even though Detroit has a really good fan base, but I honestly don't think they would accept that. I think they would rather have Detroit City go to the MLS. Well, that was Vancouver too, but yes. Again, with Vancouver, you know, I want Vancouver to stay in Vancouver. I want them to stay in MLS. I want them to, you know, like, I like the 3 Canadian team thing. I do. Like, I don't want them to go to Las Vegas. Besides, I mean, the lights are there as well, and Jose Bautista owns the lights. So that's pretty cool. Like, I don't want to see Jose Bautista cut off at the pass unless, well, there's a little bit of that as well. But, well, Detroit wants MLS. They just can't get it. But if it wasn't Detroit City, I think they would hate the fact that Montreal got moved there. Some of that ilk. 88th minute. But I would hate to see Montreal get moved. I would hate to see Montreal get moved by a different owner. I would hate to see that. Like, I can't lose the 401 derby. Like, that would suck. Like, Toronto-Montreal has to stay a rivalry. And, honestly, though, I could see Detroit City now becoming part of the USL Premier, the USL First Division. I could see them joining that and living for that, though, now. I could totally see that being a case of a situation happening. I don't see it happening. Robert Taylor coming on for Luis Suarez, and Messi is coming off after scoring a goal. USL starting a new promotion relegation pyramid. They have a first division league. They're going to start a first division league at the same level as MLS on the pyramid to go against MLS in the next couple of years. And I guarantee you a lot of the USL championship teams are going to be the higher echelons are going to be part of that first inaugural season of the first division. I think Louisville will be up there. I think Phoenix. I think Detroit. I think they'll be up there. I think Vegas will be up there. There'll probably be some new teams. It will fail. Probably, but worst comes to worst, like, it's like the AFL. It'll end up merging with the MLS. If it does well enough, it'll end up merging with MLS. If it doesn't do well enough, we'll see what happens. But I see there's an opening in those cities like Louisville and Detroit for 3 minutes of stoppage time for these cities to build up to a first division level. They're already there in the USL Championship, like Louisville, Tampa, Phoenix, Vegas, even San Antonio, Detroit. By the way, put Louisville in that. Antigua has a free kick. Well, thank you for reminding me or telling me. They do not have stoppage time yet. 1-2. Let's see if they tie this up. Miami has 2 minutes left. Fafa Pico went over the bar. Yep. 4 minutes stoppage time for Antigua Seattle. We'll go till that ends, then we'll review this game. Well, yeah, like 2012 NXT, FCW. Yeah, I was. I thought FCW was good. Well, he took over in like 2012, but like, call me crazy, but I can't see Louisville. I think Louisville's got a really good fan base, so they show out. So oh, you're talking about the game show. Not really. Not really. Not really. Shot. That'll be saved by Fry. Halfway through stoppage time, the Miami game. The game show, not really. I mean, there were some wrestlers in the game show era of NXT that I liked, but no. When NXT Redemption sort of became a weekly show and became just a wrestling show, I started to like it more. But that's kind of how NXT started becoming Full Sail NXT. Like, if we're really being real, like, true, but I think it's passed them by. Like, NXT Redemption, like that last year of NXT Redemption, 6 to 8 months to a year, basically was proto Full Sail NXT. To be real. Like, a lot of people on NXT Redemption ended up being on Full Sail NXT for like that first year. So It pretty much was, except it was touring. Weirdly. I say Phoenix is a better chance, to be real, but 93rd minute, full time. Miami wins 0-1. 0-1 esta noche. Messi gets the winner, and they get the away goal. A little bit harder of a game than I expected for Miami, but they get the win. Okay, so we have that done. Miami wins. 0-1, 1-0. All right. One more minute. Antigua, Seattle. Phoenix could play at State Farm Stadium if they join MLS. You do realize that probably doesn't work considering they want soccer-specific stadiums. 30 seconds left the Antigua game. See if they can tie it up. And then we'll stop the stream. Then we'll review the Miami game. Motagua is about to start against Cincinnati, by the way. Ten seconds, Stephen Fry. This should be the last kick of the game. And Seattle will beat Antigua on the road with 2 away goals. So they blow the whistle. Throw in. It's 94 minutes. When the ref blows the whistle. Okay, that's true. That is a good point. I think you would have to kind of use State Farm. That's a good point. Seattle, third goal! Seattle scores a third during stoppage time. Does it stand? Yes, it stands. 1-3. 1-3. And it's Albert Rusnak scoring the goal. Reagan was down for a hot minute. Well, there you go. There's your answer. Pass through to Rusnak, and he slots it home. There it is for Rothrock is better. Oh, I think Rothrock's an amazing player. Georgie with the assist. Rusnak with a goal. But Rothrock's an amazing player. I wish Toronto kept him. He's amazing. Toronto's a dumbass club for letting him go back to Seattle. I know he's from there. But Toronto's dumb for letting him go. Rothrock is a wonderful player. He's amazing. He is amazing. And Toronto made a mistake by letting him go. But for sure. They should have kept him. Wish we had Georgie on my team. LAFC, he's a good player too, but especially Rothrock, though. Beautiful play. I agree. Like, Rothrock he's just so good. Toronto made a mistake by getting rid of him. Like, ugh. Like, I like Tyrese Spicer, don't get me wrong, but Rothrock's legitimately better than Lorenzo Insigne. He legitimately is at this point. Yep. Legitimately at this point. It's that he's that bad, Insigne. And it's full time, 3-1 for Seattle. 1-3, 1-3. Antigua's probably gonna be knocked out next week, but yeah, we saw that coming. All right, so there you go. There's the end of that. Seattle wins 3-1, 1-3 esta noche. With that being said, if you like this stream, like and share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification once subscribe. Send chats on the live streams. Comment on this review video. Put this in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I'll see you within the hour for the review of this game. Until he says he's going to retire, probably. I agree with that. I think Rothrock was hurt for that tie, though. But with that being said, I'll see you later within the hour for the review. And there we go. Sit tight, be back. Peace. See you later.